Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie. And today I want to talk about the new moon, which takes place on Sunday, June the 18th, 2023. Now, as I can't help but notice with all these YouTube astrology channels, they go on and on and on about new and full moons. I think probably the reason is that, if you put up a video relating to a new and full moon, you're guaranteed to get extra views. It's going to be a successful video because people want to hear about this. And so, that's what you want to do. You want as many people as possible to visit your channel. And I suppose that's, to be honest, the motivation for me making this video. I want as many people to watch this video. But, just because you have a new moon doesn't mean that anything's going to happen. Okay, I know what you want me to tell you. You want me to tell you how wonderful this new moon is going to be. It's going to bring you romantic happiness. It's going to bring you money. It's going to bring you good karma. It's going to bring you spirituality. You're going to start to realize what your true calling on this planet is, etc., etc. But, reality is probably nothing very much is going to happen. Still, you want to know about this new moon. And before you switch me off, you perhaps need to consider the possibility that I'm the one being realistic, that my negativity might be entirely appropriate. So anyway, let's have a look at this new moon. See what, if anything, people might be getting excited about. Right, here we go. Now this picture up here, don't worry too much about it for the moment. It's hand drawn. No, it looks a bit messy, but anyway, let's have a look at the new moon. So what's going on? I've set this new moon for Westminster in England, United Kingdom. Why not? So the new moon in London time is June the 18th, 2023, which is a Sunday, at 5:37 a.m. And there it is. It's at 26 degrees 43 minutes Gemini. So it's a new moon which is about activity. It's about ideas. It's about talking a lot. If we are a sort of a well-developed Gemini, it might be about the intellect. If we're a not so developed Gemini, it might be about gossip. Oh, it's not really just about Gemini, it's about all of us. This new moon affects all the 12 signs. So this new moon also is square Neptune. And I can guarantee that when you look at other people commenting about this new moon, they will be talking about this square to Neptune. Now, those of them that are realistic will tell you about the scope for deception. It is a deceptive new moon. It's a time when we can get the wrong idea about things and make serious mistakes. Now, there are going to be some astrologers that only want to focus on the positive. But Neptune is this planet of spirituality. What a wonderfully spiritual new moon, how we can dissolve into the cosmos, etc., etc. Just forget that. I mean, it's just not going to happen. There is nothing positive about that Neptune being square the new moon, trust me. It's about deception. Also, on a more practical level, Neptune is a planet of water. So, over the next couple of weeks, be careful with your plumbing. Don't mess with your plumbing unless you really know what you're doing. You're a qualified plumber. And, with your plumbing system, just make sure it's all in order with that Neptune square the new moon. So that's one point that does need to be made about it. Before I go into sort of other details, I think I will quickly go through the 12 signs and just tell you how this new moon might impact you over the next 2 weeks, perhaps over the next 4 weeks. So I'm not talking about just today, I'm talking about over the next 2 to 4 weeks. So, Aries, it's a new beginning for you, and you have got lots to say, but be careful what you say. You might get your words confused and you might give the wrong impression. Taurus, you're very focused on money, and you might think that you've got some new way of getting rich. Maybe you have. There's certainly a lot of inventiveness going on. But this new moon in your solar second house of finances is square Neptune. So there's plenty of scope for financial deception. Gemini, there's a new moon in your star sign, but it's square Neptune. This means that you certainly have the capacity for being deceptive, particularly in your career. Now, maybe you can talk people into believing you, but maybe you'll get wrapped up in your own words, and as a result, you could make a fool of yourself. Cancer, just do nothing much over the next few weeks. And particularly between now and your birthday. I mean, if you have a birthday, which you probably do over the next month, just watch, observe. You're going to have some weird fantasies, but don't act on them. Just watch the whole thing play out, and avoid making commitments, and also stay clear of people that try to talk over you, because the new moon is about the sun being conjunct the moon. Moon is ruler of Cancer. When the sun is conjunct the moon, that means that someone's trying to block you out, or a situation is trying to block you out. So as soon as you see someone trying to block you out, get them out of their life, because they're doing you no good. Leo, it's a time for starting new friendships, for going to parties, and for generally enjoying yourself. It should be fine, but in terms of all your various friendships, don't take any of them too seriously. Virgo, the next couple of weeks are going to be great for you. You have a new moon in the career and business sector of your solar chart. You can create something wonderful, provided you don't listen too hard to other people. Okay, you might need to get their advice, but other people can be very deceptive. Libra, you've developed a particular view of the world, and that's fine, but I think it's now a time where you need to broaden your horizons. So over the next few weeks, perhaps do some traveling. Ideally, that will be traveling of the mind rather than, literally going from to another place, because you really do have to watch your carbon footprint. Also, you might want to read stuff, about maybe philosophy and religion, because, there's something you don't really understand, you don't really get. And if you do the reading, you'll realize that the world is about to change, and I think change for the better, at least for you. Scorpio, well, the new moon over the next few weeks could make life a little complicated. I think a new situation may start to develop where you have to deal maybe with, complicated stuff, perhaps of a financial or maybe legal nature. But you're a Scorpio. You can handle it. Sagittarius, there's a new moon in Gemini, your seventh house, your solar seventh house, connected with relationships. So there's a possibility that you can meet someone new over the next couple of weeks. Or if you're already in a relationship and you're happy with the relationship, then the relationship might develop a new dimension. But I should warn you that this new moon in your solar seventh house is square Neptune. So if you meet someone for the first time, don't believe everything they say, because there is a danger of deception. Capricorn. Well, it's time for, I was going to say a spring clean, but it's going to be a summer clean. There are things in your life that are a little disorganized that need to be cleared up. So over the next couple of weeks, it's time to just clear the mess up. Okay, I know that Capricorns have a reputation for being very well organized, but there's something in your life that is a bit of a mess. And yeah, so the sooner you sort it out, the better. Aquarius, you are a very talented person, and you mustn't doubt yourself. And over the next 2 to 4 weeks, you can develop a new talent. You know, perhaps there's some talent that you've been wanting to practice, really get into, and you've held back because you've thought it's silly, or you might feel you've been embarrassing yourself. No, now is the time to actually put it into action and just see what you can accomplish, because I think you can accomplish something really, really powerful if you just trust yourself to get it right. And finally, Pisces. Pisces, the new moon is in a sector of your solar chart that's quite private, often connected with the home. So there may be some changes going on in your home which you need to address. You know, some Pisceans may actually decide that it's time to move home, or perhaps to make some big changes in your domestic environment. So consider that possibility, and you know, see what happens. But you've got to be realistic, because don't forget Neptune is in your star sign, so you could make things more complicated than it actually is. So you can, be realistic about what you can achieve in your domestic environment. So anyway, you can see those are my 12 forecasts for the new moon, just for the just over the next couple of weeks. So do I have anything else to say about this new moon? Well, at this stage, there is some complicated stuff going on relating to the midpoint. So what I've got up here, this picture, is a picture of the midpoint tree of the new moon. This new moon is on the Mars-Jupiter midpoint. Actually, you can quite clearly see that. There's Jupiter, there's Mars, and you can see that the new moon is on that midpoint. And I think that in itself is really good. Over the next few weeks, we can begin some really successful action, quite dynamic action. So if there's something we want to do of a dynamic, creative nature, all of us, we can really start to put the whole thing into motion. But there is another point on the tree, because at the moment you can't see it on that chart, but there is a square between the node and Vulcanus. Now that's a hypothetical planet relating to great power, and the new moon is on the Uranus node midpoint and the Uranus Vulcanus midpoint. And so I think over the next few weeks, this suggests a very powerful, almost violent state of affairs starts to manifest. And this may not really be about individuals. It's more about societies, the collective, countries, people coming together with violent aims, trying to overthrow things. It could be positive. Sometimes you need change, and sometimes you've got to network with people and organize dynamic protest, etc., to bring about that change. On the other hand, we know we've got wars going on, and it's not just in Ukraine. You've got Sudan and all that kind of stuff, and so people coming together with violent intentions. Yeah, I know things are already violent, but they could get a lot more violent, and I think that new moon can be quite violent. I know I said North Node. The new moon is on the Mars-Jupiter midpoint, but that Mars-Jupiter is not necessarily a positive. Mars is about violence. Jupiter is about the expansion of violence. So you put North Node on the Mars-Jupiter midpoint, and you potentially get a rather dangerous situation. So yeah, that is something that we really have to bear in mind. I wanted to finish by looking at astrocartography. In other words, looking at where in the world might this new moon be most powerful. So I'm going to set up a map for. I'm going to go for Europe. So this is Europe. So we can see the new moon in terms of Europe. Now you can see I mentioned that the new moon set for London has Saturn on the midheaven. So there's the Saturn line. These are all the places that have Saturn on the midheaven. So it goes through Belgium, France. Okay, it's London kind of, but it's actually closer to Paris. So maybe there's going to be some problems in the French and the Belgian. I don't know whether it's about the economy or society, law and order, that kind of thing. So in France, there could be some issues there for the government and for the people of France as well. If we go further east, notice how there's a crossing here in the Baltic states. You've got Neptune on the midheaven and Pluto on the descendant running through. That crosses, I think that's in Latvia, but Lithuania is just as close, and it's worth noting that on, I think, the 11th and the 12th of July, there is a NATO summit in Vilnius, which is in Lithuania. So let's just relocate this chart to Vilnius. So let's just. So that's Vilnius. Okay, so this is a new moon. This is a new moon set for Vilnius, and you can see Pluto is on the descendant, Neptune is on the midheaven, and there's a NATO meeting. Okay, it's beyond the 2 weeks, but it's before the next new moon. So you might see this as about Neptune on the midheaven, kind of deception about where you're going. Where are we going? Where are we going with the war in Ukraine? No one has any clue in NATO with Neptune on the midheaven. There's real confusion there. Pluto on the descendant. Pluto is the enemy that we get paranoid about. These people in Western Europe, there's always, in Europe, in fact, basically over the last 1,000 years, there's always been the enemy from the East. Whether it's the Mongol invasion, the Soviets, whatever, and it's still this paranoia about the Russians, and so Pluto is this enemy that everyone is paranoid about, and this is a new moon set for Vilnius, and so I'm thinking that this NATO summit, a lot of paranoia, a lot of confusion, and this new moon doesn't really help. And you can see set for Vilnius, it's in the 12th house, the house of self-undoing, the house of deception, the house of fears which often are completely groundless. But I suppose there is such a thing as a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can be so afraid of something that you turn it into a reality. Anyway, those are some thoughts on the new moon on Sunday, June the 18th. I hope you found that useful, and I will talk to you again very soon.